In Bathurst?
Yeah.
Yes. That's where I did my first little radio station.
First ever radio stint?
Yeah. I remember reading the news like, hello, this is Eloise for 2BS Radio.
How are your mates when they heard you on the radio?
Yeah. I remember sending it to all of them, like my mum and dad and everything. And then I also got to go and do, I remember my first story when I was at the same Bathurst. I went out to Prime when I got on camera for Prime 7 and I was sent out to a bird show and a bird show and I did a piece of camera like talking about the birds and like now it's like still like people I was like Eloise Sohier, Win News, and like I just have the funniest memories of my friends being like, oh my god, you're on the TV. And like back then there was no Instagram, like there was Facebook was a thing, so like I get just
where were you telling everyone? Just straight text?
Yeah, straight text message like, hey guys,
check it out.
Filming it from my like iPhone like 6.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Northern Beaches #1 podcast. I'm your host, Zach, and here's Elliot, and you're again listening to the Whip podcast. We've got on a really special episode today. We've got the amazing Eloise Sohier.
Hello.
From Fox Sports, and she's made a really long drive all the way out here just to talk to us.
I think I needed a passport to get over here, guys.
God's country.
I don't know.
God's country.
So you're the face of Australian sport, Fox Sports and everything, but how would it be that you summarise what it is that you do?
Yeah, look, so I'm a presenter for Fox Sports News, which is where you'll mainly find me on 500, and generally there I'm presenting all codes of sport, whether it's press conferences or whether it's games on the weekends throughout the week, and yeah, so I'll deliver like 5 or 6 news bulletins per night. Wow. And then I'm also doing, this year I got to do some of the boxing, hosting that this year with Main Event. I also am doing a little bit of the coverage for the netball too, heading over to Melbourne and Brisbane for the internationals coming up. So I'm started to delve into a little bit of sort of more of a niche in the codes that I love. But rugby league is certainly one that I've sort of been attracted to and been involved in for some time. I've been with them since 2017. So
yeah.
We're going to get seriously judged if we're bad because this is our first TV presenter.
Seriously, guys.
So this could be bad. Did you get to choose like what avenue you went down in terms of like rugby league? Like when you were applying, did you get to go like, I want to go into the rugby league area, or did you have to wait for the job to come up?
No, not really. So I was actually originally in news when I finished university, and I was working at regional in Prime 7 and sort of getting my hours up there because I suppose for journalists and for TV and stuff like that, it's really essential to get a lot of experience out in the regional time because you've got to go and find those stories. You've got to build contacts and what have you. Whereas in the metropolitan areas, it's a lot more easier and it like lands on your doorstep. So when I moved back to Sydney and I joined Fox Sports News, they kind of just asked me like, what are your favourite sports? And, I played sport growing up, like whether it's water polo, netball, whatever. I never played rugby league, but I grew up around it. My dad played first grade. My brother grew up playing it. So I was always around it. We used to get around the TV every state of origin as a family, and I've got some fond memories of watching plenty of games growing up. So I suppose it was just I sort of naturally fell into it after I told them that, and I just love being in and around the game, and it's been so much fun to meet so many different people and players and tell the stories that I have, but also to not pigeonhole myself to rugby league because I totally want to be part of like women's sport as well. The netball's growing, the women's rugby league is growing, so yeah.
You must have been pretty stoked then with the recent Women's World Cup.
Yeah.
Because that was sick. Like even like soccer in general, I'm not big on. Like I'll watch a Champions League or a World Cup, but like that women's, I was like full into it. Yeah. So like how did that feel, I guess, as being a woman in sport to see that in Australia, like see how much it's come along? Yeah,
you and me both. I think I didn't really understand, or I sort of was probably a bit naive just to how big it was going to be. I don't think anyone expected it to just get the whole nation on their feet. Like I was surrounded by I think I was at the pub watching the final with the semi with France against France. And honestly, there was like grown men embracing each other and hugging and the whole place went wild. And like, it was honestly like, you get goosebumps thinking about those moments. And I work alongside Sam Squires, who has been a massive advocate for women's sport. And she has followed the game for many, 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 many years. And watching her emotion, she was up on air and she just burst out crying in tears when they got through because
is that the blonde-haired lady?
Yeah, blonde-haired lady Sam. She is a legend and she's done so much for putting the women's game on the map. And just speaking to her about the gravity of this and just how big it was just so amazing. And I think it's the start of something like really special.
For sure, but now I want to win it. My expectations are high. Like we're almost saying like we need to win the next one.
Totally.
We need to win it.
I'm like a complete Sam Kerr fan as well.
Yeah,
like,
so am I.
I'm
How's that
also a little bit of a
goal?
Mary
Oh my God.
Fowler fan too, because she's got like a lot of like charisma.
Do you
about
reckon
her.
Mary Fowler and Nathan Cleary?
I am so about that, and I'm liking the
Well, I
person
don't
who
wanna-
sent in that photo at the
I
river.
don't want to get sued as well because he came out in an interview and wasn't too happy. So
No.
Nathan, I know you're a fan of the show, but don't
You're watching,
sue us.
we're not judging.
But no, I was a massive the left winger. I'm gonna forget her name now. Like I'm blanking. Caitlin Ford.
Caitlin Ford.
She was like
Yeah.
my crush.
Yeah.
Like, happily in a relationship, but like you got to make compromises here and there.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
had a big sporting crush on Caitlin Ford.
Yeah, they all did I mean, they're all so amazing in their own way. Even Mackenzie Arnold in front of goal. Like
Yeah.
she was, I think, I saw this thing like my mum was watching it where the like defense minister or whatever came out and was like, mum was like, wait, has he actually retired? I'm like, no, it's just sort of like a tribute to her to say how
tribute.
amazing she was. So yeah, no, it was absolutely phenomenal to be a part of. And like in the newsroom, like it was so cool. Like we had everyone's predictions up on the board, we were gathering around, like it was just such a great feeling. And for it to be here in Australia was amazing, put us on the map, and let's hope they can go again.
What's it like in the newsroom, I guess? Like, what does like a typical day look like? Because when you're watching from home, you just like can't, well, this is me being naive. You kind of just saying, oh, teleprompter, like obviously it's fast paced. So I guess what kind of happens behind the scenes and when you're on air, like are you having people speak in your ear? Like what's going on?
So when I first get into work, obviously I've got a couple of hours to sort of get set up and get familiar with the script. So there's a whole bunch of producers that are in the newsroom and they will be allocated each stories for different codes. Like, hey, we've got this coming in from Kevin Walters. Hey, we've got this coming in from Craig McRae for the AFL. And you'll come into a server and you'll watch that interview and then you'll find the best grab to get your angle and what the story is about and what you want to, you know, put down. And then they will build that into a rundown. So then you've got a shift leader that will then build the whole bulletin and I'll go through that. So I know the order, I know familiar with names because like so many names is so hard. Yeah, it's like especially in this with the Premier League, tennis, you need to really put in phonetics and spell it out. Like it's super hard on the fly when you're going so fast paced. And then I'll get up on air and there'll be someone in my ear speaking to me like 3, 2, 1, cue. And then if there's like, you know, say we've got to go to a live press conference, they'll be like, all right, they'll be talking to me whilst I'm still delivering the news. So you got to try and listen at the same time. And they'll be like, all right, Ellie, we're going to head out to Adam O'Brien now after this script. So then like I'm talking and they're like, all right, now we're going to go to Adam O'Brien. So you got to be able to listen to the voice in your head and also to deliver it. Can be distracting, but over time you kind of get used to it.
I was going to say, does it just kind of become like second nature?
Yeah,
now?
it just
It's
feels like that voice in the head that I just like come to just know and accept that's there.
Yeah, well, we often get that on a Sunday.
I've had a couple of those too.
I know.
Oh yeah, for
I know how you
sure.
feel.
And then, so you said that you had to sit there, learn all the bulletins and everything, all
Yeah.
the names. How hard is that? Like, can you go into like any tools you use for that too?
Yeah, so like I mean, I'm still learning, like, and I'm
Yeah,
still
yeah.
trying to nail names, particularly like new ones that I've not read before. But the best way I can do is to sort of get someone either to repeat it in my head. So I'll get the producer. Like last night, I can't remember the name that I had. It was an AFL player, but I got him to repeat it like a couple of times before I was about to deliver it because I feel like it's easier to hear it.
Sure.
And then so for instance, the easiest way to be like Sohier is like Sohier. So if I saw that, you'd probably think Sohier in the auto cue.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So you'd put in phonetics SAWYER in brackets. So then you see it, and then as I deliver it, I just read the brackets,
Yeah,
spelt
yeah,
it out
yeah.
for me. So
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
like Oratio Fantasia, like that one, like when you spell it out easily. Yeah.
Oratio
You be copping
Fantasia.
Fantasia, yeah, he's an AFL player. I think I've got that name right.
That is a hot name.
Yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like there is a couple of like ones that throw a few curveballs, and honestly, sometimes I'm like, and he went across the line. Because I don't know what that was.
Do you think is live harder than newsroom?
Well, we're always live. We're
Sorry, so what I mean is
Oh.
like, so you did the boxing
Yeah, oh,
while you
sorry.
were there, so that was on the run
Yeah.
kind of thing. Is being ringside with those live crosses, I should have
Yeah, yeah.
rephrased the question, harder than sitting in the newsroom going,
So that was my first chance. That was my first opportunity that Fox like, hey, Megan Barnard's away. Will you step in for her this evening and do the hosting? And I was so nervous because there was no auto cue to fall back on. So I had to know what I was talking about, use my guests to the best of my ability to try and get them to sort of, you know, also drive the conversation. But I also learned that I didn't need to overstep the mark. I just needed to drive the bus and then they will deliver what, you know, the ins and outs of these boxes and what was happening. So once I get that, like, you know, the producer in my ear, like, all right, we're back on air, 3, 2, 1, Sohier, talk over these pictures, whatever I saw on the screen, I'd be like, yep, here we go. He's getting himself, you know, all wrapped up and ready to step in the ring. And I just talked to that. And as I got more comfortable, it was okay. And I just kept asking the right questions and I prepared enough questions that I could keep, you know, batting them off to them.
Because we saw the poster view of the boxing, which looks so sick, but those combat sport events are a long
God.
Were there any points where, like, especially at the start where, with all due respect, there's like some plumbers on the cards that you're like trying to get through it?
Oh, like I honestly, when I first started, I think the first like couple of fights, I was just so focused on what I was doing and trying to work out for the main card. But then when they started going at it, I was honestly having to like turn around, but I can't. Like there was blood splattering everywhere, and I was like, it was so intense. Like I almost find UFC like just like, I know people love it, and like I don't mind getting around it in the newsroom when we're reporting on it and whatever, but like seriously, it is so hectic.
You wouldn't go?
No way. I would never. Like, and I love boxing. Like, put me on the pads like as a little bit of fitness, but get me in the ring and put someone up against me to punch me. No way. Like, I'm pulling their hair and I'm like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, it's just too hectic.
Zach's actually an undefeated kickboxer.
Are you?
I've lost twice now.
Oh my gosh!
Actually,
Whoa.
he's only 1 and 2.
I've won once, and then the other one was rigged.
Yeah, it was.
Wait, kickboxing's intense.
We actually have beef with this guy. Not really. But we one of Zach's coaches, who Zach ended up fighting, was selling, and we've actually had to call him out. No, I'm joking.
that was just our slander.
I was like, you're talking about getting sued before. I think you're going to get sued now.
Actually, we might have to beep that out. No, he's actually a nice guy.
He's such a nice guy, but I was talking a lot of shit before the fight, and then ended up having to fight the coach.
Oh.
And then the deal was the owner of the gym will rig it so that I win, but the guy you just have to last the like 3-minute rounds with him. So I got pumped. I landed like 3 shots on him. But then it was funny because I was declared the winner.
Oh, I was see if anyone didn't read into that, like, what?
You've seen some UFC judges' decisions. So
yeah, totally.
You can get it.
Did you guys get to the UFC in Sydney?
No.
Nah, we didn't. We're going away.
Oh.
Two separate trips. Because like we spend enough time together.
Yeah.
It's like a healthy relationship. You need a break. So I was like, I barely can afford to live in Sydney as it is, let alone go to Thailand and then get over. But no, we watched it. I was kind of happy Sean Strickland won.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty funny.
I don't know about that because isn't he a bit of a racist?
He used to be a neo-Nazi and then like full repented and like really turned his life around, but then he still says some like really rogue.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they do all say a bit of a rogue thing, and I get it. Like, you got to sell the fight and all that kind of stuff. And all the trash talk, sometimes I'm like, oh, cringe.
Well, everyone likes Conor McGregor, and he called Khabib's wife a towel.
Yeah.
So you can't have it one way and
totally.
then not the other. UFC actually got announced today as well, so we will have to do an episode on that. But backtracking a bit, when you went to do your regional work in Orange,
I studied in Bathurst.
Sorry,
and then I went from Bathurst to Canberra, and then Canberra to Tamworth.
Did you study in Bathurst?
Yeah.
Did you stay in the towers?
Yeah, I know. I was on Jov. Towers was crazy. Yeah, I went to a lot of parties in Towers.
Yeah, I've heard they're getting ripped down.
I know.
They're like.
Literally, like, honestly, OH&S was not a thing there, and like parties were off chops, but yeah, there was some glory days.
Yeah, these
glory days.
Towers are like the student accom in Bathurst.
Yeah,
and it was literally like a rabbit warren. Like, you'd be like, "Hey, where are you?" And you'd just be like in this like tiny little room, like hooked up on like level 6. Like, you couldn't find anyone. The parties would be all in the hallways, and like it was just mad.
Yeah, what was student life like in those country towns? Because over here, like everyone lives with their parents still, because like you can't really afford to live out of home, and it's not like
it's a good move.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was it like in those country unis and like studying? Yeah,
I loved it. So I moved out to Bathurst with a girlfriend. She was studying to be a paramedic, and we decided we'd take the like sort of the leap. Like, I was going to look at going to Macquarie or Sydney, whatever. And then I just decided that, Bathurst would be, next best thing. I've always loved the country, and it was awesome. It was such a great experience. I think the city kids get a great experience being out there in the country, and the country kids kind of like balance out and bring them down a notch as well. So everyone's kind of like out there for the same reason. You make friends from, all around, I guess, Australia, and also too, like, the world. There's some people that come to travel there, and it was so much fun. Like, it was such a great experience, and I don't know how much work we got done. Like, honestly, it was just yeah. It was literally just, and my course was very much practical, not so much theory based. It was super practical. So, and I love that. So that suited my sort of like learning style. And I've got the best of memories from being out there.
Yeah. And then, so I believe you worked at 2BS Radio?
In Bathurst?
Yeah.
Yes. That's where I did my first little radio station.
First ever radio stint? Yeah.
I remember reading the news like, "Hello, this is Eloise for 2BS Radio."
How are your mates when they heard you on the radio?
Yeah. I remember sending it to all of them, like my mum and dad and everything. And then I also got to go and do, I remember my first story when I was at the same Bathurst. I went out to Prime when I got on camera for Prime 7 and I was sent out to a bird show and I do
a
bird show and I did a piece of camera like talking about the birds and like now it's like still like people have like Eloise Sohier win news and like I just have the best the funniest memories of my friends being like, oh my god, you're on the TV. And like back then there was no Instagram, like there was Facebook was a thing, so like I get just
where were you telling everyone? Just straight text?
Yeah, straight text message like, hey guys,
check it out.
Filming it from my like iPhone like 6 sending it back to them, but so such a great experience and so much fun.
So how did you make, I guess, the transition back to the big smoke? Because like that's I guess maybe a leap and stuff to go from, country news, which is obviously would be a demanding job, like for sure. But then to go like, okay, right, I'm going to make it back into the city, which is, probably a whole more daunting in itself. So what made you want to do that transition to come back?
Well, I had been traveling back and forth from Tamworth. I was doing 18 months out there and I kind of got to the time where I was starting to do a lot of the same stories. So I did 2 country music festivals. I did 2 of the bloke down the road who had a problem with his neighbour or whatever it was, and you start having that kind of those same stories coming up. I was like, I think it might be time to like kind of, grow my wings a little bit. And I felt like I'd got enough experience. And I'd also made a decision there and then that I was sort of maybe done with news because I went to a couple of like car crashes or when I was asked to go and do a door knock or whatever, and I found that really hard. And I think news can be quite, there's some great news stories out there, but a lot of the time, 90% of the time, it is quite sad. And I find that was quite an emotional toll. And so I thought sport was the next best thing. I was really sporty and I loved, like I said earlier, I loved being around, athletes and what have you, and being involved in an active lifestyle as sort of translated from my personal life into work life. So I moved back to Sydney and I just put my hand out and I just started freelancing for Fox Sports News originally. And I was just on the desk producing. And then from there, then a full-time job came up and then sort of naturally was the progression.
How does that freelancing work? Because I have seen that that's like the way stuff moves forward. But what do? Do you just kind of like go in and be like, do you need someone to do the occasional story? Or?
Yeah. So they'll like say, when people are away on annual leave, or like I guess any workplace, but they always need freelance producers because there's just so much sport to get through. So you've got to have a certain number of producers on the desk or readers or whatever. So they'll just call you up like, hey, I've got 4 shifts this week. Do you want to come and do it? Yeah, you come in and like, I did that for about 6 to 8 months. So just get like 3 or 4 shifts a week and you just on a freelance wage. Obviously you don't get annual leave or anything like that. But you just get in and get thrown whatever. It wasn't just rugby league. It was, hey, can you go and watch this like Pakistan-India cricket game or whatever it was. You just had to kind of get your head around it and get into it. But it was good. Yeah, it was fun.
So what do you want? Like, what are your goals then, I guess, moving forward? Like, do you want to do like an origin or... Well, actually, that's Channel 9.
Yes.
Can't include that. Do you want to do like a finals?
Yeah, so I'm actually next Sunday with the grand final day, I'm actually out in the sheds doing that. So I'll be doing a lot of the pre-game sort of live crosses into Fox Sports News, and then I'll be going in with Cody Kay into the sheds post-game and doing a wrap of that. The goal would definitely be to be involved like with Fox League one day, or I think I really look up to the likes of
Sorry.
That's right. I really look up to the likes of Vonnie Sampson and those sort of ladies that are doing some great things for the game. So to be like them one day would be amazing, and to learn off them too. So the goal is to just keep sort of doing what I'm doing, get more into a bit of a hosting sort of role. News is great and it's fun and it's enjoyable and it's challenging, but I'm definitely always looking for the next challenge.
Sorry, sometimes we just get up intermittently.
Yeah.
Don't mind that.
Sorry, that was my mum.
We normally have a filmer here as well, but he doesn't do weekdays apparently. So.
Apparently he's got a real job as well.
Yeah.
None
of us have real jobs.
This is your job, Tom. So, Fox doing the grand final?
Yeah.
The coverage?
Oh, sorry. Channel 9 do it and then we they call it after, like Warren Smith will call it after.
Afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, afterwards. But we still go out there and do a lot of the pre-game stuff and cross into Sky and Fox Sports News throughout the hour, and I'll go into the game, just watch it with the media.
I'm so pumped. Who have you got?
I think it's going to be Penrith Broncos.
Yeah, so
and I have a feeling that Broncos could come away.
I just can't see it. 3 years in a row. Like
3 is huge.
I hate Penrith now.
Do you?
I respect him. It's time to go.
Although Luai, so I knew that I was wondering whether if Luai wasn't in this weekend, I'd give Storm way more of a chance. But with Luai now being proved that he's going to start and he's going to be in, that's massive. And maybe, I don't know, maybe the Warriors could cause an upset. It would be great to see because up the Waz, that's sick. But I do think it'll end up being Broncos Penrith.
Well, this will probably come out next weekend.
Oh,
potentially,
So this will be
this is Oracle, my Oracle.
Grand final. This will probably come out before the grand final. So prediction.
Yeah, Brisbane, Penrith, and I'm going to say Brisbane 20, Penrith 16.
That close.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't want freaking Penrith to win again.
I know.
But I don't want Penrith or the Storm. Like, it's time to go.
I know.
Like, we need someone
They're just
new.
too good.
Yeah, they're way too good.
They've just got a nursery as well, especially Penrith. Like, next man up mentality. Bang, bang. Like, it's just...
So do the West Tigers, but...
Yeah.
That's Elliot's team.
That's what
Oh, no. Did you see your chairman signed on for extra 3 years? Lee Hadjipantelis?
Yeah, Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or don't sue us. Like, did you see he went around and the West Tigers chairman got called a pedophile for like offering players lollipops, and then he like on the official West Tigers actually it's not the official, it's like the West Tigers supporters podcast.
Oh, the supporters are really like Pasco, gotta go. Like they're fully like really into it.
And he threatened to sue them.
Oh, really?
So
Did
we can't
he?
talk about Inspector Gadget too much.
Yeah, let's not. I don't want to lose my job.
No, but I couldn't believe that one. I'm glad Brooksy went.
Yeah.
He had to go. He had a good season.
Yeah.
But there's 10 years of trauma and pain.
So you guys got a young guy coming from across from Manly.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
As long as we can keep him out of trouble,
Yeah.
should be good.
Should be good.
Aiden Caesar's coming. We'll
Yes.
sign Sullivan. So Bud
Hopefully
Sullivan.
no wooden spoon then. You can't go the 3-peat for the wooden spoon.
Well, if we do, I will be switching allegiances.
Come join us at the Finns.
Are you a Dolphins fan?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Fins up, baby. What do you mean, why?
They only just came in. Surely
Yeah, I
you-
know. They need some support base, and they're like, they're just doing their thing. They're not arrogant. They're just kind of going about their
surely you went
business.
for
And they
someone-
also beat the West Tigers in their first year, in their inception.
That is saying nothing.
Yeah, but since the West Tigers have been around, they still haven't got the roster.
I reckon me and Zach could strap the boots on and probably beat the West Tigers. They suck.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
All right. Who do you go for? Broncos?
Nah, Manly.
Oh, you're a Manly fan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not bad. Don't mind Tom and Jake. They're all right.
Trying to get him on.
We're a fan of Brad
Oh.
Parker.
We are
Brad
a big fan of Brad
Parker.
Parker.
He's been a stalwart for that team for some time.
We put up a TikTok once that he should get picked for New South Wales centre
Oh.
as a
Everyone
joke.
didn't- everyone
and
didn't
no
agree.
one took it as a joke.
And we got rinsed.
Really?
We got so rinsed in the comments.
I love that.
Because our rugby league ones, for some reason, we are not a rugby league podcast, but everyone thinks we are.
Yeah.
So our rugby league videos get like the most.
Most.
Like, so like people just comment on our rugby league opinions, and so many times we've been like, we're
not a rugby league.
podcast.
Yeah.
So we
Like,
might have to switch to that niche.
well,
Yeah.
it could be.
It's a bit of a saturated market, but
It
you
is,
should go
it
for
is.
it.
It is and it isn't, because like it's hard to be a good one. Because
Totally.
it's a fine line between being like, because people want to listen to experts on league, they listen to former players. So, and then people want to be sarcastic and stuff.
Yeah.
It's Hello Sport or
Totally, yeah.
stuff like that. So you kind of have to pick a lane.
Yeah,
I guess.
absolutely.
So
yeah, I actually quite enjoy working in around news and talking about ex-players. Matty Johns' insights.
He's great.
He's really I love listening to it, and
Shape.
Nick Ennis as well. So yeah.
So anyway, don't know how
Anyway,
we
we just got back down the rugby league.
I did want to hear about the marathon you did.
Oh yeah.
So you've been training for that one for a
Yeah.
while?
So I started running. I've always been able to run, but I've never been a runner and done it consistently. So during COVID, I was living overseas, I ran a little bit, and then I just dropped off and never picked up. Never put on the shoes again. And then I came back here, and this year my girlfriend's like, let's do a fun run down at DY, 7Ks to Manly. I was like, yeah, sweet. Okay, whatever. Did a couple 5Ks. Like, yeah, no, it'll be sweet. Then we're like, okay, let's do the half. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, righto. Train a little bit. Didn't follow a program, but my personal trainer, Benny Lucas, has done 48 marathons. He's a legend. Wow. I know. He's awesome. And he convinced me. He was like, he was like, come on, you could actually do a marathon. You should definitely do this. Let's get some training. So I started joining a run club, and then, it kind of just evolved from there. And then, on the weekend, I ran the marathon, and it was so hot. It was so hard. Honestly, I probably didn't realize. Everyone's like, oh, the 36K mark, you feel like you need to stop, and that's the hardest part. I was like, yeah, no, but I'll be fine. It was so hard. Everything was hurting. My legs were killing me. My mind was almost giving up. People were dropping like flies around me, honestly cramping up, or this one guy was really seriously ill, and that was super confronting. But I had a time in mind, and I got there, and it was...
Yeah, you did it
go.
quick. What was your time again?
3 hours, 33 minutes and 33 seconds.
I think
Crazy.
anything under 4 is impressive.
Well, the average for I was happy to finish totally, but I think the average for a woman for a marathon is 4 hours and 58 minutes, 4 hours 48.
Yeah.
So I was I was super stoked and proud of myself, and now I just set a sort of benchmark for me to just go, because you're not racing against anyone else.
No.
It's just for you.
You just want to finish.
Yeah.
But also if I'm a fat lard, I don't want to do it in 7 hours because like
and it was so hot after those people. Like there were some people that are out there, and like there was some amazing people that were running, and like people were dressed up. There was one that was blind that he was running it. It was incredible, like what you saw right there, and like just hats off to them. But it was like close to like 31, 32 degrees by like 2 o'clock. I think I finished running around like a 10:51 or 11. Maybe an hour later, I can't remember. And even then it was so hot. Like I was just pouring the ice like throughout the race and just trying to get it on me. But like I have the itch so bad now. Like I just want to keep running.
Runner's high.
Runner's high is a thing.
It's like getting a tattoo.
Even runner's blue post-marathon. I'm like, this is kind of sad. I need something to work towards.
Yeah. Are you going to move into like ultra marathons?
I thought about it. Yeah, I'm definitely. I want to do. I want to do all the majors. And then I'd love to try. I'll try an ultra like one day. Yeah, but I just like. Yeah, I think it's actually what it's provided me is just so much clarity, and I just like seriously have never appreciated what the body can do, and also too like my mindset and everything else in life just feels like it falls into place through running, which sounds like super weird, but it's honestly like an outlet for me that's been so amazing.
Well, it's hard work and dedication.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Like I remember when I did the Weet-Bix triathlon when I was a kid. So, I often had the persona.
How many Weet-Bix did you do?
No, I didn't like Weet-Bix. Unless
so you're a fraud.
Unless someone sponsored a show.
Yeah.
I'll bend over for Weet-Bix. But so I was a bit of an athlete myself, fat little kid. But I heard word on the street was Centennial Park was on Sunday was one of the great.
Yeah, I got
one of the great.
I got interviewed after the race as I finished in the finish line. The guy was like, what was the best part of the race? And I was like, I tell you what the hardest part and the lowest part of the race was Centennial Park. It was like hairpins through the whole park. And like I've trained there the whole time. I live opposite Centennial, so I'm always in and around there. Love that place, and like that's sort of like my happy place. But the way that they set out that course, that was looping through these random roads that I hadn't really been through, I felt like I saw the professionals and the elites coming out at like the 35K mark. I'm like, I wonder when I'm going to get to there. I didn't get to that point like an hour and a half later. Yeah. And I was seriously doing some like head noise in there was real.
Because apparently at a lot of parts, it's like you run to the end of something and then come back the other way.
Yeah, and so you see your mates like, hey, I saw like one of my girlfriends that did it like, and she was literally like, hi, and then I'd see her again going back around the hairpin. I saw her for ages, and like Moore Park Road, which is close to where my house is, I had there's like it's still the 35K mark, and like honestly I'm getting PTSD every time I'm driving past. It's still there today. I'm like, why is it still there? Like literally getting a bit of trauma every time I see it, because like what was going through my head at that time was just so insane and intense. But yeah, you're not wrong, Centennial Park.
I reckon we could do it.
You guys should do it.
I reckon we could.
We need Eloise to train us.
The only way I would do it, I wouldn't do it to just do it because like I'm pretty content in my life. But if someone was like, I'll give this amount to charity or whatever,
well, you can do that. Yeah, I definitely would like to do it for charity next year. And I want to do New York Marathon through a charity as well. Yeah. I think it's such great motivation. There was a couple of people that I knew of that were doing it for charity, and like that will get you across the line.
That would get me. I don't reckon I could just do it to do it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't got that much, but I've actually done my ITB, Zach. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. Running.
Runner's knee.
Not 21Ks.
Oh.
No, I think it was incorrect squatting.
Ooh.
So it's kind of
that hurts.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
You need to like,
talking like I'm an athlete. It was a weird one because it was kind of like just, I remember I was running down in Narrabeen Lake and I was just running. And then my knee just gave way. And instantly I just went, oh my God, ACL.
Oh gosh.
And I was just like, but it doesn't hurt and I can keep walking.
Yeah.
And then
ITB. It'll get you.
It will. It hurt. Did you get any like full body cramps?
And didn't cramp up at all. Only injury I had like leading up, I got a bit of a tight calf, and I was like, oh my God, I've definitely torn my calf, like soft tissue muscle. Like obviously with like being around sport and like reporting on sport, like, oh, soft tissue, they're so hard to like navigate, la la la. I was like, oh my God. But it was fine. I kind of just had a couple of days off and like, rolled it out. You had a couple of niggles here and there, but it like fit like touching, what is it? Touch wood. That was weird. Touch wood. I came out unscathed and I don't have any major injuries. So I was, and I honestly like the biggest thing as well was like doing all of that running. I was also ensuring I was doing weights in the gym, and I was like making sure that translated into what my running was to build my muscles and to make sure I was strong enough to be able to facilitate those sort of kilometers, because it was bloody far.
What's the training routine, I guess, like for strength training for a run that long? Because you probably wouldn't want to put on mass.
No.
But then also...
It's just like maintaining, and like also building up around the ITB. So doing like a lot of like squats and core, like a lot of core work as well to hold you like, to be in good stead when you're out there. And then I did a lot of Pilates and yoga and stuff. And that was really good for like just like stretching out and building up in those muscles too. So.
Do you reckon you could do one?
I'd give it a crack.
Do
I'd
it.
probably die, but I could...
Where was
Better to die and try.
Where was the mark where you hit what kilometer is it you get to where you're like, because I could be completely wrong. I feel like for me personally, I've never done it, but if I got to 35, I'd be like, I've come this far, I've got to do it. But there's got to be a mark maybe in the 20s that you hit where you're like, oh, I wish I could leave now. Is there a plan?
I didn't feel like I wanted to leave. I knew I was going to get it done because I'm like super headstrong like that. And I was like so determined. And I got to 21 and I felt sweet. Got through Centennial Park and that was a little bit hairy, being like, far out. I wish this could probably wrap up sooner than it is. And then coming out of Centennial, we hit 35. And then I was like, oh, it's actually like not too far now. There's like 7 Ks to go. But I knew the course pretty well. And I knew that we had to come out of Centennial and head down into Mrs. McCrory's chair. And that is hilly. Yeah. And that was more mentally trying to prepare my body, the way my legs were feeling, be like, it's fine, it's fine. So I was just getting the best songs I could get on my playlist. And I was pausing as well to try and embrace the crowd because they honestly were like a third leg. Yeah. They seriously helped you down. And then I just like took my glasses off at 400 meters and I was like in tears. Like just tears were rolling down as I was coming down Macquarie Street to get there. Like
pain.
No, pain. Like no, like overwhelming, like tears of like happiness and just like surprise. Like not tears of like pain or anything like that, but just like so proud of what I'd been able to achieve. I was just like overcome with emotion, and then just running down Macquarie Street, and the crowd's just like just going so mad, like thousands of people, like, and it was so cool. And like Sydney wants to become a major, and I think they definitely did all the right things to try and get there.
Toilet situation though.
I saw that.
They've got to fix.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was in the line for like, I think I tried to get there with my girlfriend and my boyfriend. We were there for like, he was just there to like sort of take our gear off us. And we waited in the line for 45 minutes and literally just had to get to the front line. And it was portaloos that were like snaking like this because you can't go into a run without being prepared because honestly, like some people do their business like on the run because they're so like determined to get there. Yeah. But you also get like super nervous. You're running for 3.5 hours straight. Like you got to make sure you get all that stuff done. So they needed more portaloos because it was like a snake of people just, I was in there for 45 minutes just waiting.
I've seen like shorter lines at festivals.
I said this, I'm like, this feels like a festival. Yeah. And you know, people like in and out, like, but you know, maybe they're doing other things.
Not quite the same demographic.
Yeah.
Probably two different ends of the scale. Yeah. But yeah, it was nuts, like those portaloo lines. So I feel like if they can get that that's a precondition of mine.
Yeah.
To do the run. Charity, toilet
situation.
And I want the Ivy after party.
Oh, that was sick.
Yeah, that looked good.
That looked fun.
That was fun. So they did they made it into an ice bath, and honestly my legs were absolutely like on fire after. So jumping in there actually felt so good. Yeah. Had a beer in my hand, and like by the end, like half an hour in, like had a couple of drinks. I hadn't drunk for a while either, so it didn't take me long to get a little bit buzzy. I didn't even feel my legs. Like they just felt normal. Yeah. Like I was just dancing. Like the Hello Sport guys were there with
I saw that.
They had a crew, and then like all the guys came through, my girlfriends, and we had a cabana there, and it was just so much fun. Like just let your hair down. Like people were in there just putting their like blood blisters and like everything. Yeah, I know that was pretty hedge. That was gross. Yeah. But I was like, you can do it because it's big enough. We won't notice it. Yeah, you just run a marathon. But like half the party I don't think made it because they just was like dead.
All right, yeah, I would. What time did you wrap up?
Oh, I was actually home by 8. I was pretty well behaved.
What time does it start?
Started at like 2:33.
Oh, so the marathon.
Oh, sorry, the marathon started at 7:10.
Okay,
and then I finished at like 11:30, 12ish, I think. Whatever 3.5 hours is after. Like I started around 7:30 because obviously you go in like waves, and then I went home, had a shower, had the biggest chukas feed, had this big Portuguese chicken schnitzel roll, chips.
Burnt it.
Yeah, it was like a ridiculous amount of calories that you burn out there, and like trying to get it all back in and feel yourself. And then a few beers.
Yeah,
so good.
Drinking the bar.
Yeah, totally.
I'd be taking the week off work after.
I did take the Monday off, and I'm so glad I did that because going back, I was like still like limping into the office, and I was like, "Oh, did you run a marathon?" I'm like, "Yeah, no way."
Yeah. You want to see my face?
Yeah.
Were you like along the way just pounding gels, like soft drinks? Because I've heard of heaps of people run. They run into the bathroom, shop quickly, undo a little bit of Coke, and then run.
I like it like as a Coca-Cola?
Soft drink.
Yeah, right. I had planned all my gels, so I had like a couple of them in my running belt. So I'd planned to do it 7, 14, 21, 28, 34. And I had like 3 non-caffeinated and then caffeinated towards the back end to kind of give you that little bit of an extra boost. And it worked really well. I trained with them too. I didn't try anything new on race day that I hadn't done because otherwise people are like, if you're trying new flavors, like gels can also be really harsh in your tummy. Some people get really upset tummy with it too. do. And then I had a couple of like sour worms and whatever. Yeah. And then I was pumping the water as well, even though I wasn't pumping during training, but because it was just so hot, I was get like all the water stations and the electrolytes throughout it, because you just need it. Like you cannot get it. And like I got up at like 4 a.m. to try and get, 2 crumpets in with lots of peanut butter on top to, fuel myself for the first couple of Ks.
Yeah, no, actually, maybe we won't be doing it.
Yeah, no, I think you should.
I don't know if we could do that.
I don't know.
You can.
I reckon if I had enough of a motive to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going in with my mates going, yeah, I'll donate after, because my mates are stingers and they won't do it. I need motivation. It would be good, but I feel like you accomplish.
I feel a little big sense of accomplishment, and I've also got this like mad itch now. Like I just want to run.
Yeah,
and you've got to run as itch, or like you're obsessed with something when you like see someone running down the street. I'm like, oh, I wish I could run right now. Like that's weird. I've never had that before. So yeah.
So
see you guys at Sydney Marathon 2024.
See you next year.
Fine.
Yeah.
If they want to sponsor us as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, no worries.
I was going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And just say thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been great.
That's okay. I guess what's next? When looking in 20 years' time, you're sitting, you've just been for a run.
Yeah.
What do you want to look back and have done?
I definitely want to run all of the majors. That's up there. I want to be really content just in life, not just in work, but like generally just happy. Like don't need to have everything fancy or have, all the, I guess, accolades or anything like that in my career. Just be really happy and content and be surrounded by people that I love. So that's
we
important.
Want all the accolades.
Yeah. You guys will get them.
We want all the accolades.
We'll take yours. But thank you again. Where can everyone find you on social media or anything?
At Eloise Sohier, Sohier. And yeah, join me, follow me, come for a ride. Come for a run with me one day, guys. Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know about
and
that.
anyone listening, if you want to join, let's do it.
Eloise's Run Club.
Yeah. I'm thinking like Soulmates, SOLE. That's quite.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah.
Get it sponsored.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. Reach out, sponsors.
Guys, watch this space.
Give me and Zach free shoes. Or win it for the corporate dollar. Well, thank you again.
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
so much.
It was fun. Thank you.
Flex, check, flex, check, flex, check. Diamonds in my veins, flex, check,